Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson and Steve Fortune with Veterans in Politics. Today, our guest is going to be Mack Miller, who's a candidate for Lieutenant Governor. But before we get to Mr. Miller, Steve, how you doing?
Terrific today.
Tell us a little bit about you.
It's been...
Since you're a special co-host, just a little snap.
Well, I appreciate the phone call and the opportunity to come down here and co-host on your show. And it's a privilege, and I appreciate that. Part of my background is here, of course, my military service here with the United States Air Force, and I spent time in service, through different areas here, Southeast Asia, of course, the Middle East here, which leads me, here to Nevada. And which brought me to, of course, a lot of TDY service out here first to here over to Nellis as well. A lot of training, and that's where I first saw Nevada, saw Las Vegas, and it just caught my attention and everything for this area, and really fell for the state of Nevada. I'm an East Coast guy. Grew up a lot in New England. And so I'm like a fish out of water out here, but I've been embraced here by the state, love the state, and really, really looking to push the agenda. And I saw that Mr. Miller here, I've seen his commercials. I've also seen him on, Fox News as well. And so it caught my attention as well. And we really, really, it's a breath of fresh air. This is the exact kind of candidate that we do need for the state, push them forward. I met Steve over here.
All right, no, don't talk about me.
Yeah.
People talk about Steve
over the course, just my I was in the with the Middle East and did have some injuries that occurred in the Middle East, and that's how came into meeting Mr. Sanson over there, and he's been just I say like a guardian angel on me, because I was in a bad spot there.
Not the hell's angel.
Recovering, and he's helped me through some trials and tribulations here, pushing forward. Nice. And he's definitely been a bright spot with me and getting back on my feet. And so I'm just, whenever he calls me, I'm there for him.
I got a body in the trunk. We'll take care of that. You gotta be careful.
But just a terrific individual, and so I'm just here to support Mr. Mack Miller here and push him for the office here. Anything I can do, I'm here to help you.
Thank you.
Get over that mountain, and make sure that we do the best for the state of Nevada.
Wow, I think he's personally endorsed you.
Combat veteran, right? I just got
somebody that's going to be aggressive. Not going to be nice.
I've got a lot of aggression that's come to my way in the years. So.
I told, like we were speaking earlier. I saw you on Laura, and real quick, I saw him on Laura. I saw Mr. Mack Miller on Laura, and that's when I was sitting in the hospital bed. And all of a sudden, I just stopped, and I listened to him. I listened to what he had to say. I saw what happened, and I know you're going to touch on that, but I saw what happened. And then, of course, what I do my research, because I just don't listen to what people say. I like to get in, read, and make my own decisions. And then I picked up the phone. The first person I called was Steve. I'm like, Steve, you have to listen to this individual. And I'm like, he is... Just like I said, he's just exactly what Nevada needs. This man is real. I like his outlook. I like his goals here for the state. And then Steve, first thing he says back to me, he's on my radar.
I'm not the only radar. I'm on a lot of radar these days.
So you go ahead. I'll stop talking over here.
So, Steve, thank you, Steve, for that gracious introduction.
Yeah.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about you. You're not a stranger to the show.
Not a stranger, Steve. You know that. Hard-hitting questions. You never held back. So I'm,
I got a few.
He's got a few. Great. So, I'm a Las Vegas native, and I'm sure many of your viewers know this. born and raised here. You know, I'm not a transplant. I didn't move from another state or another county. I didn't run over there and then run over here and lose over there. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose right here in the great state of Nevada, but I'm going to be back, which I have. You know, I mean, truly, I have only lost one race, and that was the race for mayor. Okay. Now, my first assembly primary, I had an opponent that never filed a contribution and expense report, that never filed a financial statement as required by statute. And I filed a lawsuit to have that race overturned by Judge Crockett, I believe it was.
Correct.
Yes. And then, of course, my last primary here in Nevada in Assembly District 5, there were two other challengers, and I won. And I am the candidate that cannot win, so say some people, but so was Donald Trump. Okay, so to think about that. And then that's because we're not used to having people that have a passion for what they're doing and where they're doing it. We've got people coming from other states. You can't tell me that you come from, you know, Chicago, or you come from Detroit where you can buy a house for $1,500 and then come to Nevada and say, I'm going to make things better. You didn't make them better there. You should come in here and making them worse. You can't run from California, come to Nevada, and tell me and tell everybody in this room how, oh, California's horrible. I couldn't live there anymore. The taxes were high. The crime was going crazy. I got to put notes on my window. Please don't break, and leave the key so you can see I don't have any property. Come to Nevada and say, yes, and I want to vote for the same type of people that was running that state. San Francisco has a board of supervisors like our city council. 11 districts, all 11 Democrat. They talk about the school board here in Nevada. We hear people yelling. We got our own citizens saying, we got the worst school district in the nation. We're 49th. We're 51 if you count Puerto Rico. And I say, well, listen, we've been like that for 30 years. 30 years we've been the worst. But there was a time when we were number 1 and number 2. And people say, well, when was that? We need to go back to that time. I go, you know when that time was? That was when we had a Republican on the trustee board. We've had Democrats for 30 years. Kate Williams is the first Republican to get elected in all that time. I am about fighting for people. I'm willing to take the attacks, which I do get, but you're not going to get rid of me. We need leadership that is not going to just go along to get along. Look, don't get me wrong. I've been to just about all of my opponents' houses or hung out with them or whatever. I'm not going to lie there. We know each other. It's a small town.
Well, tell us about your opponent.
So, man, I tell you what, we've got a motley crew of opponents that are running against me. So I announced my candidacy 2 days before our last lieutenant governor resigned. Now, I would beg to say that no one knew who that was Kate Marshall. No one knew who she was until she resigned. And after I did that, I laid out a plan. I honestly believe that's.
Hold on a second. Wasn't Kate Marshall the state controller at one time?
I believe she was. I don't know a lot about her history, but it's history. Right. Her future doesn't look so great since she took a job with Biden. So, I mean, you jumped out of the skillet into the frying pan. Okay, you jumped. Look, there's like 5 statutory requirements of a lieutenant governor. You know, you sit as the chair, I believe, of the tourism board. You sit on the committee for for our economy, right? And one key that we've never had to deal with. One key thing that
How much does a lieutenant governor make?
Oh, you're lucky if you're going to pull in $70,000. It's like, I think it's like 68 or something.
And it's a part-time job. And people don't know it's a part-time.
People don't know. Yeah. They think we run on a ticket. They think that you're making a ton of money. No, that's not it at all. But one of the things that the lieutenant governor's job is, which we've never had, not in my recollection, and I don't know if in yours, that the lieutenant governor has actually had to do, is to ensure the continuity of government during a catastrophe. We finally get a catastrophe and she resigns. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, all right, I've got to step in here. Now, knowing that it's a part-time job, there's one thing, politicians don't like it when other politicians step on their toes. That's why Governor Sisolak never liked Carolyn Goodman. You know, when you open your business, you want the mayor to come and cut the ribbon. They had a fight because Sisolak was so petty that he would get mad when Carolyn Goodman would go help open a business because it wasn't the city, it was technically the county. This is the kind of petty stuff that shouldn't happen in elected office. All elected officials should work together and help. I'm going to be the lieutenant governor since it's a part-time job. And you know what I'm going to be doing as lieutenant governor? What I've been doing for the last 25 years. I'm going to be showing up at county commission meetings. I'm going to be showing at school board meetings. Why? Because I will use the weight of the lieutenant governor's office to let these school board trustees know the will of the people and that the lieutenant governor is there watching them and make sure they do the right thing. And we got 17 counties. We got the two largest employers in this state.
The lieutenant governor's job description is to.
Let me say that.
Is to on the Senate floor is to
chair as president.
Chair as president.
Look, we're not going to have any ties.
It's supposed
in
to
the
be
next
part of
years.
tourism. Supposed to be bringing in businesses
Yes.
and tourism.
Well, how do you bring in business? You can't bring in business with failing school systems. I can't. What am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to go to Boston and Texas and everywhere else, or out of the country even, and say, hey, come to Nevada. We're the worst school district. We have the worst education system in the state. You got to fix inside first. You got to fix your state before you can even think of enticing somebody to come here to do anything but gamble and smoke weed. Okay? Simple as that. All right?
That's true. That's true because I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I see it in these schools. Like sometimes you go in there, and of course she's had some classes. She's taken extra classes, of course, over the course of the summer. But you see in the classes, there have been times where the students were just sitting in the class because they didn't have a teacher.
Right.
In the classroom.
Yeah.
Where's the teacher? Okay. But a lot of what you see out here, and you see it in like Loudoun, Virginia, you see it. The parents are starting to step up.
Exactly.
They're starting to step up. They're starting to get involved. And that's what it was. A lot of times before, parents were busy. Didn't have a lot of times to look at the schools.
You know how this started? By the way, now they're calling parents terrorists. They call them parents terrorists. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who the terrorists are. The terrorists are the people that are hiding stuff from us. The truth. Here's what happened. So during the pandemic, yes, I rolled my eyes to that for the viewers. During the pandemic, something happened that parents was not able to do or see in many, many years. My mother used to show up on my campus. Yes. My mother used to just walk on my campus. I'd be walking down the hallway, going to my locker, and they'd be like, hey, Mac, your mom's down the hall, right? I never knew when my mom was going to show up. See, back then, they let parents come on campuses. Now campuses are prisons. They lock them up and, they hide. You got to wait at the front office. And I get it. They claim it's for security, and it might be. But here's what happened that they didn't think would turn into this outcry. When they made the kids have to go to school and do virtual learning. Now the parents are at home and they're looking at the screen over their kid's shoulder going,
they're involved.
This is what they're teaching my kid?
They're bingo, they're involved.
This is what they're teaching my kid? Oh, and no offense, PE teacher, but why are you overweight? Okay? Why are you not teaching my child how to write cursive? Why are you not teaching my child how to read a clock without it being digital? Why are you teaching my child all about emotions and pronouns? And not just any pronouns, but the pronouns saying, well, you can call yourself a girl if you feel like calling yourself a girl. And if you, he, she, what's my pronoun? That's not what our tax dollars are for.
You know what? You brought up a good point. And I remember I took my daughter to the pediatrician. Took her to the pediatrician. There's this form. Have your daughter felt suicidal? Have your daughter depressed? Have your daughter feeling emotional? I mean, this is the pediatrician.
Right.
This is not behavioral health.
Thank you.
So,
my wife has felt all those just last night.
Hold on. So I said, I don't want to fill this out. I said, this is not what I'm here for. Mm-hmm. I said, number one, you're out of your job description.
Right.
This is for medical.
Right.
My daughter has a cough.
Right.
Okay. Not what's going on in her head.
You're not a psychiatrist.
You're not a therapist. You're not a psychiatrist. You can't prescribe medicine for mental health. You can't do none of that. I don't want to fill out this form, so I declined.
Right.
They charged me $21 for the damn form.
$21.
They charged me $21 and I even declined the damn thing.
That's government overreach. You know, all of this stuff is as a result of some government official saying, you got to do this. Turning small business owners into the Gestapo for the Fuhrer, Sisolak. Okay? You can't, first off, you can't make a business tell people about anything medical. You telling them the word mask, first off, they're not getting paid to do it. You can't just deputize every business, every small business owner out there and tell them to make sure everybody does this. You can't do it. It's not their job. They're not getting paid to do it. They're not, the governor didn't swear them in. If the governor says, like, if you want to swear every small business owner in and deputize them as part of either OSHA or make sure they get a medical degree. Then when somebody walks into the business, then you're qualified to say, you need to wear a mask. Oh, are you exempt? No such thing as exemption. I'll tell you what there's no such thing as. There's no such thing as a mandate that extends past the Emergency Powers Act. We have a dictator on our hands here. And for those people who claimed our last president was a dictator and a tyrant, you should be the first to support the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment isn't there to protect us from our guy breaking into our house next door or stealing our TV. The Second Amendment is there to prevent the government from being tyrannical and running over its citizens.
Okay.
All right, off topic. Right. So you know my positions and my passion on that.
Very clear.
So we've got one gentleman who's running for lieutenant governor. His name is, and I don't even know where to start with the list, because the list, I'll start, well, no, I'm not going to start from the top.
Start from the bottom.
Right. So I'll start from the bottom. I'm going to put, in the bottom, I'm going to put a gentleman by the name of John Miller. I actually just met John Miller last night in person.
Who's this guy?
No one knows. He is he is a nice guy. I just met him. All I know is that he's an executive with a bank. And he's, for a couple years, he started
he knows paper.
He knows paper. And that's all we know. We do also know one crucial thing about Mr. John Miller. One, his logo on his campaign looks exactly like mine. And two, he became a Republican in November. So, listen, if he saw the light,
you know what they say about
yes.
copying? No, copying is the best form
of what's the not influence, but it's
flattery.
A flattery, yes. So listen, I don't know if he saw the light. Maybe he saw the light. Maybe he realized, oh my goodness, I really am a Republican. So he found out in November that he was a Republican, and he registered as a Republican. And then he announced the candidacy to run for lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada. That's really all I know about him. I did just meet him and have a few words with him last night.
Please continue.
Okay. Then we've got a gentleman who is a nice guy too. His name's Tony Grady. He's up in the north. I think he's in Carson City or Reno. He's former military, I believe. Very nice gentleman. And that's all I know about him. We met up in Washoe in October. We had talked. Nice guy. I mean, I got nothing to say bad about him. We've got Cameron Hawkins. Cameron Hawkins is a guy, I guess he lives in the north as well. And the thing is, though, Cameron keeps getting thrown out of cigar bars and things for selling his own cigars. So I like his cigars, I do, but you can't sell your product in somebody else's shop. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take my own burger over to McDonald's and then tell the guy in line to come over here and check out my burgers first. So Cameron, Cameron's a Republican. I know Cameron's a Republican. I will say this. I sat with Cameron Hawkins a couple years ago, maybe 4 years ago.
Related to the skater?
I don't think so. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And I actually forgot that Cameron Hawkins would be running for lieutenant governor. I did forget. Cameron did tell me about 4 years ago. I'm going to put it all out. He did tell me, he said, I'm going to run for lieutenant governor. I completely forgot. I absolutely forgot until I got a nasty email forwarded to me from Cameron. It wasn't that nasty. It was just like,
all right, move on.
Then we've got this guy named None of the Above. No, I'm joking. He will get votes, though. He will get votes. Mark my words. Or she, because, we don't know which pronoun None of the Above is going by these days.
It doesn't do anything. They should just get rid of that.
So, no, I kind of like None of the Above.
It doesn't do anything.
It takes the votes away, and I don't know. I would keep it. But we have Dan Schwartz. I know Dan Schwartz as well. I've been, Dan Schwartz has been to many organization events that I've been on the board with, and he's been a support. He's boring. I like Dan. I saw Dan last night.
He's not charismatic as you.
Yes.
Well, we need people with fire. We don't need any more 77-year-old people. I don't know how old Dan is. I really don't. I'm not going to talk. I don't want to get sued for saying people are too old, but there are people that are too old. And we need people that got a little fire to fight for our state, to fight for our kids, to fight for our teachers even. Teachers do get a bad rap, but it's because of the union. It's not because of the teachers. The union enabled them. But the teachers, teachers, they're not getting their insurance paid for now.
For school board.
So they can throw me through a metal detector? So
we get to that.
We'll get to that. So again, like I said, teachers aren't even getting their insurance paid for it, so they can't go to doctors. Doctors aren't taking their claims aren't getting paid, and they're leaving.
They're leaving.
So we got to address that too. But anyway, moving right along, Dan Schwartz, he was a former treasurer of the state. But does that tell you something? Treasurer, another paper guy, another guy that knows how to do this.
Very organized.
Yes.
That's what we get. I'm not saying Dan's a bad guy. I like Dan. He's boring. He is boring. He's not a very, we want fire. We want fire in our leadership and show people that they're fighting for our people. Okay. And last but not least, we have city councilman, currently seated city councilman Stavros Anthony. Again, I like Stavros Anthony.
He should have ran for sheriff.
He should have ran for sheriff, but I like Dan Height. I like Stan Height. So now that I don't know. We don't know who's going to change their mind and run for what come March. Because while we've all announced, things change. People look at numbers and who knows? It might not change. So
I want to move.
There you have it. There you have it. But don't forget, I'm Mack Miller. I'm the one that you're going to be voting for. I'm the one that will fight for you, get attacked, and not.
I just wanted to know how you felt about your opponent.
There you go. Now you know how.
Now we know. So let me ask you something, Mr. Miller. Yeah. If somebody was to come to you and do a pro and con.
Okay.
On you,
right?
Your whole life, whatever they know, whatever's in the paper,
right?
What would that be? How would that look like?
How would it look like? It depends on who came to me, right?
So somebody
if it was
really
just a third party, if it was somebody that didn't like me,
what would be a con?
The con that they're going to list,
and please explain all the cons.
Oh, I'm going to explain. Okay. The con that they would list is they'd say, "Well, this guy is a deserter. He's a traitor. He deserted his men on the battlefield." That would be the first thing they would say, and it isn't true.
Explain.
It isn't true. From day one, I argued. I've never changed my story, and more stuff has come out about this. I was blown up in Iraq. I was sent on medical leave, and it was later discovered that I was reported AWOL while on medical leave. The argument came out.
Where were you when you were on medical leave?
I was at the 61st, I think it's 61st Airborne in LA. Yeah. Because they sent me back, and that was the 61st. I'll never forget that because it was LA.
And you were in the Army.
And I was in the Army.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, and thank you. Both Steves, by the way.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve, thank you, Steve. Doctor. Your Honor. So I'm on medical leave. I get reported AWOL. What the F? I go back to work. And I work for like a year and a half with a dead man. Any veterans watching this show, this is what people said that I was lying about, because a lot of people who aren't in the military, by the way, less than 1% of the American population have ever served. Now, and I'll say this. Let's say we're on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. Great. So let's say for shits and giggles that I joined the Army, made it through basic training at Fort Benning, by the way, as an 11 Bravo infantry soldier, skinny little me, turned blue, right? City boy. I think, I got through it. And let's say I did shit my pants. Sorry, Biden. Let's say I did, get scared or whatever the case was and quit, right?
Where did they say you deserted that?
Let me add from Iraq. Because I got hit in Iraq, and they sent me on leave from Iraq to L.A. to the 61st.
So they say you deserted in L.A.
They say I deserted in Iraq. The whole thing.
Who'd want to run away in Iraq?
Well,
where are you going to run?
Right? How do you? Right.
Where are you going to go?
Right. You know. But anyway, so let's say
Al-Qaeda,
like
Bird Dog, or whatever his name. One of them even changed over to a woman or something like that, right? So here's the deal. Let's say
whoever goes AWOL in any combatant country.
Right.
It's just plain stupid.
Ended up like, what's that guy out of Afghanistan?
The guy that ended up being stuck there for
Bird dog, or that Obama gave, or President Obama gave all that money and terrorists.
And exactly. And then pardoned him or something, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah. They pardoned?
I think the guy got pardoned. Yeah, the guy got pardoned. Here's a guy that really ran away in Afghanistan and lived with the terrorists. Went to them for shelter. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to jail, then he gets money, then he gets pardoned by Democrat president.
But before he got pardoned, we had to get him.
Yeah, we had to
and then we traded, five terrorists?
5 high-ranking
and how many millions of dollars?
Yep. 5 high-ranking terrorists. I think he was E5. He was E5 or something.
Yeah, because I believe Qatar was negotiating, and Qatar is kind of shady when it comes to that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So let's say I did. Let's say I just got so scared, and I apologized. I got so scared, and I left, and I ran away. Let me ask you this, America, Nevada. How many of you even swore to serve? How many of you went through basic training? How many of you were awakened at 2 a.m. by a flashbang from a sergeant to get you ready for the real show? How many of you actually went to Afghanistan and Iraq? And how many of you even tried? Mm-hmm. Right? Yes, so that's if that was 100% true, but it's not. So we've discovered the truth, and I run with the truth, and I've always run with the truth.
Well, didn't they court-martial you?
Oh, yeah, I got court-martialed. Oh,
were you not convicted?
I was convicted. Yes, but also if you know anything about the military, which again, 99% of the people on the planet don't because they weren't in it, the UCMJ has a 96% conviction rate. There's a reason for that. And by the way,
scared the shit out of you.
Well, there's a reason for that. If you get pulled over by Metro today, Metro wants to arrest you for something. They write a report. All Metro's job is to transport you and write the report, throw you behind bars. Then they take that report and they give it to a deputy DA whose job is to determine if there's enough evidence, if they think they have a case, if you may have, committed this crime that the police officer says he witnessed you commit. Once it gets through that scrutiny, then they may decide to charge you. Let's say it got through that scrutiny and they charge you. Then it goes to a jury of whom you don't know, that comes from hundreds of thousands of people in the county whom doesn't know you. See, in the military, it's not the same. The guy that arrests you, or let's say says, I want to prefer charges for court-martial on you, is the guy you've been in the same unit with or whatever this is somebody that maybe he likes you, maybe he doesn't like you, maybe he has a grudge against you, whatever. Then he has to take that, like the Metro officer, and take his report to his commander, which again is in the same building, the same room, they work together. Hey, Steve, if you said to Steve, I don't like this guy, charge him. Steve's gonna go, what's bad about him? All right, I guess you say he's bad. Sure, no problem. Just the same way you got an endorsement, right? So then you already got 2 to prefer charges. Then it has to go to the regimental commander. Well, the regimental commander hangs out with all the company commanders, right? The judge isn't hanging out with all the prosecutors. And the jury sure as hell isn't hanging out with all the prosecutors and all the judges, right? Because the jury doesn't do that. But who's the jury in a court-martial? Company A, B, C, D. The company commanders from each of the companies on the same base who all hang out with each other. So you've got a jury of people that all not only know each other, but hang out with each other on a daily and weekly basis.
It's not the jury of your peers?
It's not a jury of your peers. Yeah. It's not like they said, let's go find 12 privates from all over the base. Let's even say the base, or in the country or whatever. No, it's 12 senior enlisted, non-commissioned officers who all know each other within a block of the same building because they run each other's companies. What do you think is going to happen there? Let's get this over with. Guilty. I didn't know all this until after I'd been.
So you didn't have a JAG?
No, I did have a JAG. Oh, no, I had a JAG. And the JAG said, well, there's 96%, and I said, I'm not going to say yes to something I didn't do, and I'll just do the time if I have to do it.
All right, so let's just move this forward. So what's your other con?
My other con is I don't take shit from nobody. And, I got in trouble for someone who tried to run over my family and back over me. And I pulled out a taser on him, which actually was a spray gun or whatever the hell it was. It looked like a gun. They thought it was gun. So I got in trouble for doing that. And I said, and I'd do it again.
Did you get in trouble with the Secretary of State?
Oh, who hasn't? So first problem I had with the Secretary of State was back in 2018.
You know they say in politics, don't ask a question unless you already know the answer.
Of course, they say that in law too. This started with our Secretary of State back in 2018 when my opponent didn't file any of his C&Es. I filed a lawsuit. The Secretary of State, Barbara Sagaski, decided to say that it wasn't within my power or jurisdiction to file a lawsuit against this person. Well, the judge disagreed. She jumped into the case against me, not against the guy who never filed his reports, his contribution expense report. He didn't raise any money, but you still have to legally file this stuff. You know what I mean? And she got upset. The judge agreed with me, said, no, Mack can sue. Mack, it is within his, he lives in the district even. It's his race too. Yeah. And threw the Secretary of State and the Attorney General's attorneys out of that case. Since that day, there has not been a year where Barbara Sagaski hasn't come after me for something that has nothing to do with her job or the taxpayers' money. The next thing was she came after me and said that I accepted more than $10,000 in contributions, which turned out to be in-kind contributions. In-kind means no money exchanged hands. It was someone that did something for me because they liked me, and I did the right thing and reported the value of that person's time on my C&E. She dropped that case, and she dropped it because I said, well, fine, I didn't pay anything for it, and the guy is not going to bill me, so I'll take it off my C&E. It's real simple. Then there was a complaint from there's a matter that I can't discuss because it's ongoing, and in ongoing investigations, everybody can't. But I will tell you this. I'll give you this one. If you invest in someone or someone partners with you, and the partnership goes afoul, right? That's it. The partnership went afoul. There's no comeback later. Hey, I want my money. I lost my money. You lost your money. Who's going to give me my money? Vice versa, etc. So that's ongoing right now, and I can't really comment on that. But that's that, and that's it.
Are you an attorney?
No.
Do you ever perceive yourself as a legal counsel?
No, you can't. So what I've done over the years in all my practice.
Before you answer that, could a non-attorney own a law firm?
No.
Okay.
You can't own, non-attorney. But a non-doctor can own a hospital. So my firm, for years as it's been.
What type of firm?
My firm, Miller & Associates, my consulting firm. Oh. Miller & Associates Consulting. Not Miller & Associates Attorneys at Law. Miller & Associates Consulting. Or M&A Legal Management, which is just that. Because I've managed for attorneys. I've marketed for attorneys. In other business dealings, I've even had partnerships with attorneys, but not in legal practice. Okay? And I've referred attorneys. As a matter of fact, I've hired many attorneys, and I've always referred my clients to the attorneys I've hired. So
you get a cut?
No, I don't get a cut. What do you mean, do I get a cut? Really? Okay. So, no, I don't get a cut. I'm not Floyd Lamb putting money in his pocket. The way they changed the name of Tula's friend.
I thought he was going to say, how'd you know?
Also, I was like, uh-oh.
So you've been talking.
Do it. You get a cut. Hard-hitting. Here's the hard-hitting questions, folks. I'm not. Am I Biden? Do you think I'm Biden? Do you think I'm going to sit up there and say?
You're light as shade, brother.
You know what I mean? I'm going to sit up there and say, I called the president of this country and I told him if he didn't fire the prosecutor, he wasn't going to get any money. That's not me. That's Biden.
Oh, yeah.
So I will charge for whatever. I think the last thing I did was actually before my incident. I haven't done anything this year because I've been campaigning and running for lieutenant governor. But I've done a lot of marketing consulting. I've done a lot of business analysis. That's what I do. People come in, they say, here's my company, here's my business. And they analyze it. And I say, oh, this is what you need. You need a business plan. Let's put a business plan together. You need to get your accounting straight. And I've got an accountant that can take care of that. Oh, by the way, this area, you're going to need counseling. You're going to have legal counseling. I've got an attorney that's going to be able to handle that. And that's what, like an agent, right? Sports agent. Sports agent isn't a lawyer most times now they are. He doesn't write the contract for the sports player. He's the agent to get him the contract, and in his office, or he's partnered with an attorney. Like a chiropractor in an attorney's office, right? The chiropractor isn't giving legal advice. He's just doing his job, the attorney's referring to. So that's that.
Well, let's go fast forward. Let's take us to the Clark County Commission building.
Oh.
Tell us about that.
So what part? Which meeting?
The one that got you on Fox News.
So yes, the one that people saw the urban black come out of me. I will say only after hands were put on me. So that day over the last year, county commission meetings and school board trustee meetings have been very hot and heated because of what people have been seeing. But that particular day, there was a matter on the agenda. It was a proclamation to determine misinformation a public health crisis. Now, I don't like misinformation either.
What you gonna get? The chicken pox?
But my question is, first off, who determines what misinformation is? That's my first problem. Who's going to determine what misinformation is? If I say the sky is blue and you're colorblind, but you're a county commissioner, and you tell me the sky is not blue, sky is purple. So who's determining what misinformation is? That was my first problem. So I said, no, we can't let this stand. Second, at the end of that statement on that proclamation, there was wording in there that not only said, we're going to make misinformation, a public health crisis, but at the end it said, now I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it memorized, but it said, and do anything necessary to stop it. That sounds a lot like they're crowning themselves, giving them a very vague power where we don't know what they can do to stop it.
But it's broad.
Hey, we voted. We said it's misinformation. We determined that it is misinformation. And now we can what? Arrest you? What? Take your license away? Remember now, this Emergency Powers Act, it cost people their businesses, right? It's cost people their businesses because you take a small business and you go, you're not making people wear masks, so we're going to fine you $10,000. And if you don't pay it, now the fine is a fine. But if you don't pay some of these things, if you don't comply, then they try and prefer criminal charges on you. And people don't want to lose their businesses. They have to shut down their businesses. So when you make it so vague like that, I'm wondering, why is it vague? What would you do what powers are you giving yourself to prevent it from happening? Are you arresting people?
The reason being that they created that this big, this wide. The thinking is because look at them. They will come up with these keywords. Like you said, misinformation. And then you're thinking to yourself, what is it? What is it? But like you said, it's so broad. So they can come back on you.
The first vaccine is misinformation.
They can't come back on you and say you're racist.
Right.
They can't do that.
They can't do that with me.
So what do we have to do next? Okay, they have to go down their playbook. Let me throw out misinformation at them.
We're talking about misinformation. Here's the deal. You got one vaccine that comes out. Mm-hmm. You got the different companies that come out with their vaccine. And they swear it's the God's honest thing that's going to cure you and keep you safe. And then all of a sudden, another company comes out with their version of the vaccine. And then another company comes out with their version of the vaccine. You notice I keep saying version. And then they say, great, you're fully vaccinated. And then 2 months later, they say, oh, wait a minute, you need the booster. Well, 2 months ago, you said I was fully vaccinated. By the way, I have not taken the vaccine. Mark my words, in about 2, 3, or 5 years, you're going to see commercials that are going to say, have you or a loved one suffered from any injuries sustained from taking the vaccine in 2020 or 2021? You may be eligible to be compensated for, because they don't know what's in it now. It hasn't been approved. It's under an Emergency Powers Act where they just let it go.
Them attorneys going to be busy.
It's going to be a very busy thing.
You hit it in the head. Boom, you nailed it.
Misinformation is what science doesn't change. Does science change? Mm-hmm. They say follow the science. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Barbara, don't come after me saying I told somebody else a doctor. But Barbara Sagaski, the Secretary of State. But let me ask you this. I don't know this. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But science, I don't think science changes, because that's why they say science and evolution, right? Evolution changes. Evolution, evolve. Science, I think, is right. It doesn't change, right? So if science doesn't change, why do we need so many boosters? If their science was right for the vaccine, why do we now need boosters? When you used to get your flu shot 10 years ago, did CVS call you back a month later and say, oh, by the way, come get your booster?
Speaking of misinformation, I mean, I got the shot because I didn't want to wear a mask.
Right. Oh, and now it doesn't matter if you wore the mask or not. You still got to wear the mask.
If I was going to wear a mask anyway, I wouldn't have got the shot.
It's changing every week.
It is, and like you said, where's the studies? Okay. Usually when it goes through the course of the studies, they'll, like, what is it? 1, 3, 4 years, 5 years before they can be legitimately say, okay, these are going to be the side effects. This is what it protects against.
Exactly.
But you are the study. Your children are the study.
You're a guinea pig.
Your children are the studies.
You're a guinea pig. We're going to have so many ailments and so many problems coming out of out of the younger generation. If someone, I'm not, my daughter, no. Mm-mm.
And now our military. Well, that's a story for another day. That's a story for another day.
They discharged 2,700 soldiers.
3,600.
Yes.
Is it
At the
36?
last count.
Yes.
And 103 Marines.
I don't know what to do with the National Guard.
We're talking about our troop strength dropping.
There you go.
And we're talking about
And a lot of experience.
people that are experienced,
Yes.
trained.
Oh, wait, how about this? Wait a minute. How about this? We want to talk about court-martials. How about the lieutenant colonel that they court-martialed simply for saying that Biden exfilled out of Afghanistan incorrectly? You want to talk about fair? You want to talk about why you can get court-martialed? So while the viewers out there are rallying,
court-martial for dereliction.
Right?
And failure to follow orders. That's what he got court-martialed.
Stemming from them telling him, don't say that the president.
They're trying to stifle his First Amendment right. But you know, once you sign that dotted line, your Constitution is gone.
Yeah, you're a number.
You have no Constitution.
You're owned by the military. Your number. I get that. I understand that. But we're getting all of these soldiers being kicked out because they want not to take those vaccines.
The county bill, and you haven't hit the damn metal detector
we're at
yet.
I'm sorry.
So, all right, you're right. This is a conversation. I keep forgetting we're on a show. I just have fun with the conversation. Yeah. So we get there, and we're going to be. I'm going to be opposing this proclamation. And everybody knows it. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't like I was going to come there and say, surprise. They knew I was there to oppose this proclamation. But normally, and I was there, I was ready to, matter of fact, this very notepad is the notepad I had in my right hand.
I know. You never dropped that thing.
I never dropped it.
This
phone. This notepad and this phone.
Order coffee. You know?
If you were a journalist, you would have got what's that high journalism
Pulitzer or whatever it's called.
Because he kept everything intact. He still was filming and reporting.
Even the coffee.
So
going down.
So I was prepared to be at that
I would have
meeting.
dropped everything and started throwing fists.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
Somebody would have got their jaw knocked the hell out.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was prepared to be there for several 8, 9 hours. Several 8 or 9 hours I was prepared to be there, because whenever there's these really heated topics on an agenda, they tend to be high numbers and wait to the last, kind of thin out the crowd, people wait people out. So I was prepared to be there I was prepared to be there for several hours. But then someone had their mask on incorrectly under their nose like this. Yeah. And it became a thing with the county commission president, Marilyn Kirkpatrick, I believe, and she's over there in the corner having little words. Then it gets heated, and then they say, you know what, we take this recess, and then she comes out. So we're in a recess, first off, and then she comes out and talks to someone else about a mask not being on correctly. Not me. I had my mask on because I needed to oppose this. You're not going to stop me from it.
Why would she want to even do that and get close to that person? That's why they got those security guards.
She actually has a habit of doing that. She actually comes out.
Why you got guards there?
They're the bad guy. They're the bad guys, all right. But so while she's doing that, I'm sitting there like, we're going to be here all day. So I decided to take some notes, and I'm just watching the show. because that's what it was. It was a show. So then she decided, you know what? We're going to clear the chamber. Everybody leave and we'll start back up later or whatever. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I want my supporters to know that I was here because they're gonna just cancel this meeting or whatever. So I get my phone out and I'm like, because if I leave, it's kind of like, did they know I was there? Did my supporters who asked me to come and I wanted to come, did they know I was there? So I get on my Facebook live, and I rarely do this. So I will admit that was a rare occasion. And I get on live and I say, I'm Mack Miller. I'm running for lieutenant governor, and I'm here in the county commission building where they've just recessed and now they're asking everyone to leave. So there is probably not going to be a vote on this today. And I get my pad and I'm doing it and I stand up. I'm at the first row.
Citizen journalist.
I was being a citizen journalist. And I get up and I turn around and I start walking up the stairs to exit. And as I'm walking, I'm talking and I'm reporting live. And I look out of the corner of my eye and I see these young ladies at the bottom of the stairs being pushed by this big security guard in tan uniform. She's shoving them. And I turn around and say, hey, you can't push people. You can't be touching people.
Well, they weren't police, right?
And they were not police. These were the county security guards were pushing these ladies. So I said, you can't be pushing people. And I turned back around with my pad in my hand and I turned right back around and I continued. And then all of a sudden, I get jolted. Now I'm being pushed. And I turn around and I say, hey, don't push me now. I've got a bad back, you can't. And I said, as a matter of fact, since you didn't push me, I'm going to tell you once again, that gentleman, and it's all on film, so you can go back and fact check what I'm saying if you want to.
I got it.
I say, and about 100 million other people. And I said, that gentleman, I actually used the words gentleman. Yeah. I said, that gentleman right there, I pointed with my phone. I said, that gentleman right there was pushing people. He can't push people. I said, get his badge number and his name. As soon as I said, get his badge number and his name, these two security guards grabbed me, and all I know, but the minute they put hands on me, for those of you that didn't know if I was black or not, you know now. So the minute they put hands on me, because people, they say you're so nice, you calm, you're the even head. So the black people, the ghetto came out of me, right? Okay. So it's a ghetto came out of me. Ghetto came out of me. Somebody told me I lost my black card.
The sheriff's department or anything?
Nope.
They were private security.
Private security. They both get me, throw me through the double doors of the chamber, and continue to shove me. And you can see this. Continue to shove me all the way down the hallway. Of which, while they're doing it, I increased my vocabulary, but I limited it to a few F-bombs. So, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up off the ground. I didn't know it. I'd been knocked out. I didn't know I'd been knocked out.
There's no way you're going to stop me from protecting these people's fucking rights.
That's exactly what I said in those chambers. When they put their hands on me, that's the first thing I yelled out, because I knew at that point they were going to try and do something to get rid of me from being there to oppose this proclamation, and that they were going to come up with I just knew that they were going to throw me out of there, put me in cuffs, come up with some cockamamie excuse to keep me from fighting that day, arguing in opposition to that proclamation. And all I know is after that, I woke up on the floor and I'm looking up, there's lights. I was like, what in the world? And there's people all around and there's these security guards there. And I roll over to my right, and I'll never forget it. I roll over to my right and there's this excruciating pain. So then I roll over to my left and I can't stand up right away. I start crawling. And then I finally get up and I'm dazed and I'm thinking, okay, what just happened? I'm in excruciating pain over here. Someone's now telling me, hey, you've got this massive knot on your head. And I literally go to the back of my head because I knew I hit the back of my head. I woke up on my back. And I think it was a lady says, no, it's the front of your head. Well, I didn't know it. I'd been hit. I didn't know that metal detector had slammed into
slammed you into the metal.
Yeah, I didn't know that metal detector hit me in the head as it was falling on me, and it knocked me out immediately. And then I landed just boom. All the while, as you say, Still, I was like a prize fighter getting knocked out. I landed like a deer. I landed as soon as I got knocked out. I was standing up. I was still standing up when I got knocked out. Well, they say when you get knocked out, your body freezes up or something. I don't know, whatever. Well, apparently that's what happened because I went bam and went straight back, and I woke up literally like this. And so that having been said, I'm in therapy. I'm recovering. I'll be okay. My right side got seriously injured, my back, and I can't. This is about the heaviest thing I can lift.
Are you going to file a lawsuit?
That is, well, I have to get through medical treatment. That is coming. Somebody's got to pay these bills. Okay, I'm in therapy 3-4 times a week.
Not only that they have to pay the bills, they have to be taught a lesson not to go around doing this to people.
You can't try and make examples out of everybody. You can't.
No, that was because that video that you took, I reposted it, and in 2 days got about 200,000 hits.
You can't go around.
That's a lot of hits.
Yeah, no. My volunteers and everybody, we decided we'd just check on our own, like how far this really went. I mean, it turns out that this thing was being talked about on news outlets in Africa. It made Al Jazeera.
I saw it in the emergency room. I saw it.
It made Al Jazeera. I saw it in the emergency room. Remember that movie with Eddie Murphy in it? Distinguished Gentleman?
Can I say one thing, though? Real quick. For every action that occurs, there's an equal and an opposite reaction. And this is a positive because when I saw this and I saw the beating that you took, and taking it for the people, I go to something about this man right here, and that's when I called him.
I couldn't let them. I just knew, and you know what? They didn't arrest me. They didn't cite me.
Yeah.
The Channel 3 asked Tick Segerblum, Tick, you lied. Tick, you lied. You said I punched somebody. I didn't punch anybody. There's 30 witnesses. 9 different angles from independent witnesses' cameras that's gone to hundreds of millions of people's eyes now. You didn't punch
anybody. You were holding your pad of phone the whole doggone time. Like I said, I would have dropped it and it would have been on.
And I said, someone said to me, Mac, Chick Segerblum just said you punched somebody. How could you? Like, I didn't punch anybody. Did you watch that video? I never punched anybody. Who did I punch if I did? But I didn't punch anybody. The thing is, Channel 3 asked him, and he said, Mac punched somebody before it all started. We've got it all on video. Well, Tick, so do 300 million people. But they don't have, none of them have come forward to say they saw me punch anybody because it didn't happen. That being said, you know, we've got legal counsel. They're doing what needs to be done on their end. I'm getting treated. I've got a lot of medicine that I take it when I really, 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 really have to because I have to be. They wanted to give me this medicine that was going to turn me into Nancy Pelosi. I don't want to be turned into Nancy Pelosi. I want to still have my wits
Maybe
about
you're missing your calling.
Well,
maybe you should have been a stand-up.
I mean,
hang out with, what's his name?
Chris Rock or somebody.
Chris Rock. Jamie Foxx.
I just, so I get pain.
Andrew Dice Clay.
And here, and I have to be coherent. People have to understand what I'm saying. I can't take all that medication.
What are you running? What are you running? What makes you qualify to be lieutenant governor? Because lieutenant governor is a stand-in for the governor in case, something happens to the governor, you take over.
Exactly. One, I'm running because I know this state. I love this state. I see where the state is going. I've been saying that multiple times. I'm Vegas born. I know. Listen, I've been on both sides. I am the only candidate running, I believe, in this state that has personal experience that mirrors all of our residents in our state. Whether it's having to deal with divorce, child support, I don't have to pay child support though. I've never had to pay child support because I've always been that good. And
that's what he just said, right?
No. But you know, look, I've had my lights turned out. I've had, you know, there've been times where I couldn't find work, right? I mean,
persevered.
But I persevered. Look, my family is multiracial. Asian, Japanese, Chinese, Japanese. I'm Cherokee.
Have you been profiled by the police?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've been profiled by the police because any incident in which I was cited or arrested, it clearly wasn't a profile. I know what it was for. And it wasn't because I was black. So, well, I went to jail in the court martial. That's an arrest.
Oh, okay. Military.
I got arrested. You know, I told you
military, not civilian.
The civilian arrest when I got when the person tried to run me over, and then I pulled out. That was the first thing I said.
Taser.
Yeah, that's why I got in trouble for that. Getting in trouble generally means you got arrested, but whatever.
Well, you never got convicted.
But I didn't get convicted. We had it was going to be a doozy. I was like, guys, are you kidding me? So they dropped a bunch of charges, you know, and I pled out and all this kind of stuff.
Well, you know what? The attorney general was arrested several times.
Yeah, the attorney general, our state attorney general.
So I don't know how they're going to hold that against you.
Attorney general was arrested.
That's what I don't understand. It's so hypocritical.
Yeah,
they'll attack somebody for being arrested. While they're praising somebody else and not mentioning their arrest.
Yeah, so you know, we're all human. But that's my point. And that's another thing that's my point is I understand our people. Here's the deal. I got ideas. I'm not running on here's all our problems. Here's what I'm running on. I've been working for years to solve these problems and how they get solved. I am the only candidate. Now here, Mark, listen very carefully. I am the only candidate to successfully bring together, this is good, the Black Democrat Caucus, Chinese American Citizens Alliance, the NAACP, the Latin and Philippine Movement for Power, and the Proud Boys for a Stop the Hate solidarity event. All together. And I've got the proof because they all know it. I made the phone calls and I got people that they call racist, and by the way, the founder of the Black Democrat Caucus, I had a meeting with her. She said, I can't do it anymore. She changed her party. She resigned and changed her party to Republican. I am uniting people. On my website, mackmillerfornevada.com, it said, there's these words that say, it's a WUSA. And I took that to be working to unite the states of America. I don't care what nationality you are, what race, what religion, whether you went to college or you didn't. Look, John Ponder, Hope for Prisoners, right? Is that what it's called? Hope for Prisoners. Look, you can't say that people have a right to be rehabilitated and not give them an opportunity to be rehabilitated. You've got to let people move forward. You can't stop people from living their life lest you keep them on social services. If a person's done their time and they've gotten out, right, and they're not on parole or probation or whatever the case is, you can't say we're going to do a background check and you can't get an apartment. Then how are they going to live? Or you can't get a job. Now, I get it. Depending on what your crime is, if you were accused of robbing a bank, you shouldn't be working in a bank. If you were accused of some heinous sex trafficking, you should not be working in you shouldn't be working there either, but you shouldn't be working at a school.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
But for somebody who maybe got arrested for shoplifting or whatever it may be, to say they can't get an apartment or they can't get hired, now what you've done is you forced them to go on social services and live off the government teat.
And an alcoholic shouldn't work in a bar.
Right. No, but that's the thing. So I'm all about understanding and recognizing that and giving people opportunity. Not tying their hands. I don't want to tie. Yeah. Police officers don't want to do their job or they can't because they're worried about this or that or getting sued or whatever. Let police officers do their job. Let them do their job. God knows they've done it with me. I don't have a problem with that. That's why I'm running, because I want people to see that everybody can have a fair shake at life in this state. But number one, getting our economy back, untying the hands of business owners. Let's stop the handouts. There are higher, help wanted signs. In every business, you can't go a block without seeing 4 or 5 help wanted signs. And then you ask them, they say, well, we get the applications, but the people don't show up for the interviews or they don't show up. Why? Because they're being enabled. Where are they finding all this money? I'll tell you where. Epson. Printers. They're just printing it. They're just printing it. They give everybody early child tax credit. What's going to happen when February 28th of 2022 rolls around and you file your taxes and you can't get your tax credit, you already got it. Are they going to extend it? So these people, and that's federal, and I got nothing to do with federal right now. But in this state, I'm that guy. In this state, I'm that guy that's going to show up at every county commission meeting. When you call Mack Miller and you say, Mack, I don't know what they're doing here in Clark County School Board of Trustees or whatever it is, or the county commission, I'm going to be there. I've been doing it for free for the last 20 years.
Might as well get paid.
Now I'm going to get $60,000. Ooh. But
do you have anything else you want to?
No, I've been listening, and it's quite interesting. And what you're saying is, you're Vegas born. It's a very transient city, and where you get a lot of people coming in from. You see it I can't count the number of California plates I see out here, right. But you see a lot of them moving out of these primarily blue states. Blue states, like Nevada. It's borderline. You see Reno, you see Carson City, you see
Washoe and Clark. Washoe and Clark have always been known, well, in recent 15, 20 years, to be purple. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, Washoe and Clark are like the only counties that have a direct route to and from California.
Yeah.
And the rest of the state, if you look at a map of Nevada, you'll see it's blazing red, except for Clark and Washoe.
There you go.
And every so many years, in my experience and what I've seen over the last 25, 30 years, every other year, the state goes a little purple, then it falls right back to being bright red. And then it goes purple, then it goes right back to being bright red. This last time was just people voted. People didn't vote using their brains. They voted, I don't like the way that person tweets at night.
Well, you see a lot. You see a lot of, like you said, you see a lot of the status quo, the sheep, and they'll follow that. But it's starting to change. It's starting to see it change. But what's sort of the message that we can get out to these people coming from these others? They failed. They failed. They failed in California.
The way you voted in the state you fled from. If you're a refugee from California, from New Jersey, if you're a refugee from any of those states because you couldn't afford the taxes, you couldn't afford the insurance, you couldn't afford to put your kid in a good school, you couldn't afford to register your car, you couldn't afford the rent, you can't afford a mortgage because your credit's shot, and you're a refugee, when you come to Nevada, just vote the opposite way you voted from the state you left. And we'll be more better for it.
That's right.
I'm Mack Miller for Nevada, Lieutenant Governor.
You were here when Lake Mead had water.
Yes.
You know?
when Martin Luther King was highway. So,
Mr. Miller, I know what this is for. Right?
Yes. Yes. All
Mr.
right.
Miller, I apprapate you coming on the program.
And thank you for having me.
It was very enlightening, wasn't it, Steve?
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is the most I've laughed in an interview in a long time.
Just personality, energetic.
Yes. Could you look in the camera, and Mark is going to zoom in on you and tell folks why they need to go and vote for Double M.
Mack Miller. I'm Mack Miller for Lieutenant Governor. I'm asking for your vote because, as proven, I will fight for you. I've been fighting for you all my life. From high school until now, I've always fought for you. You can look, I'm the only candidate that actually shows how I fight for you on my campaign website, mackmillerfornevada.com. You'll see for years my arguments in session, in county commission meetings, in city hall meetings, in school board trustee meetings. You see what I do. I put out what I believe. I don't waver in my messaging. I won't waver in my messaging. I'm Mack Miller for Lieutenant Governor, and I'd appreciate your support.
Point of contact.
Mack Miller for Nevada, the number 4 Nevada.com. You can also email us at mackmillerfornevada.com. And you can give me a call directly. You can send me a call, 834-9801, and that's 702. And that'll get past some of the gatekeepers because that's the Miller and Associates Consulting. So.
Anybody ever called you Big Mac?
No, my father. I'm named after my dad. So he was always Big Mac, and he passed in June. He passed this year.
You're a Whopper.
And so they would call me Lil Mac, So, but that's it. But Mac's got your back. You've seen that. You've witnessed that. And you can punch at me, you can attack me, you can call me names, but I'm still going to be fighting for the people no matter what.
Steve?
He does have
a lot of backing. Like I won't do a lot of talk. I'll listen.
Baggage?
No, backing.
Oh.
That's my Boston accent. That's my Boston. You heard my Boston accent. My God. I'm going down the park.
That's why you drive a U-Haul instead of a car.
You like, where? The park.
Messing with you, man. But Steve, thank you for coming on the program.
I do have my ear to the ground, and there's a lot of support out there. A lot of support.
Coming on.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're brothers in Cain.
Yes, sir. That's it. But at least he doesn't have a knife in his cane.
There's no knife. I need to get some bling on mine.
There's no knife. Just for all intents and purposes, before you guys want to try to tackle me again, there is no knife in this cane. Just so you know. I that's the last trouble I need.
I need something like that.
Mack Miller, thank you for coming on the program. It's been
yes, sir.
Wonderful meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful meeting you.
Thank you, sir.
Much.
It's been fun. It's been fun, brother.
Thank you very much.
Folks, that's that's Mack Miller. He's running for lieutenant governor for the great state of Nevada. Do your homework on this guy. He's quite the character. He's different, and I guess he's not going to be like any other lieutenant governor that you don't hear about. Apparently, you're going to hear a lot about him. So he's going to worth the $70,000 that we pay him every year if he becomes lieutenant governor. This is Steve Sanson, Steve Fortune with Veterans in Politics. Until next time.